Hey guys, what up? Basically just going to show you today do a wee vlog, going through absolutely everything that is required to set up my podcast. So it's pretty much, if you're after a real cheap podcast, this is one for you, because I'm just a university student, so she's a podcast on a budget. So basically what I'll do today is I'll run through everything involved, from the equipment that I use, how much the equipment cost me, to how I set it up into my laptop, get it all plugged in, and then right through to recording and getting all the mics set up, because that's probably the hardest part, especially with USB mics. So yeah, I'll show you absolutely everything, and yeah, hope you learn something. Okay, so here is absolutely everything I use in terms of equipment. So these circle microphones here, I've got two of them, so one here and one here. Now these are called, this is the package that they come in, Snowball Black Ices. The reason I got these ones, or the reason these ones are cheap, is because they don't have any headphone jack like you can see on this one here, and the reason, what that sort of does is it makes them a wee bit cheaper, in the sense that you can't plug in headphones and hear the playback quality through that as you're going along. So this microphone here that I bought does have the USB, does have the microphone option. It's a Yeti Nano, and it cost way more than these ones, but the only reason I brought this one and splashed out a wee bit more is because these two were sold out at the time, and I just really wanted to pull trigger and get going. So this is really unnecessary for me, but I sort of just a wee bit excited and want to get into it, so bought it anyway. These two, well, all three of these mics are USB mics, so they plug in through a USB into your laptop, which is another important thing to note. And then this wee thing here, so obviously with my laptop over here, you've only got two USB plugins, and obviously we got three microphones. So the way I get around that is I'll purchase this wee thing here. I don't really know what it's called, but it's like a wee USB port, so it's got the three extra ports there, so I literally just plug that into my laptop, and then it all goes from there. So the way I get around having those no headphone to listen to while I'm recording sort of thing is I'll literally just, while I'm recording, I'll do maybe the first minute, I'll stop, and then I'll play it back on my laptop, and if it sounds all good, then I'm sweet to go, and I just monitor it throughout the podcast. It's really simple to get around. And also with these things here, yeah, I don't really know the name, but literally all I did was I just walked into, so I'm from New Zealand, I just walked into JB Hi-Fi, which is like an electronics store, and I was like, oh, I need a wee adapter with 3 extra USB ports, and they pointed me straight to it, so not that difficult to find. Okay, so now you can see we've got one mic there, we've got a light on, 2 and 3, all lights on, so they're all running, all the USBs are plugged in, running into the port that I've used, and then the port's simply running into my laptop there. So we've got 3 mics all set up, ready to go. Okay, so now we will go into the laptop and get into the more technical side of things. So just before we jump into the laptop properly, I just thought I'd point out that, so I record on GarageBand, so I'll show you here what it looks like. It's a free, see down here, this is it here, GarageBand. And the reason I got, how I got this, it was literally just a free download. Went onto the App Store on your Mac, down here, and literally just download it off there, free download, good to go, and that'll give you all the software you need to run a podcast through 3 mics. Okay, so now that we've got GarageBand all set up and we know all our admin stuff involved in it, we're going to go in and type Audio MIDI setup into the wee search bar on your Mac here, Audio MIDI setup, and then we're going to click that, because that's going to help us create an aggregate device. No, it's not opening. Let me close it and try again. Audio MIDI setup. Okay, cool. So here we have audio devices, and these are aggregate devices, which is what we need to create to link up our microphones in the Audio MIDI setup. So we'll create a new aggregate device. These are all just other ones that I've made. So you'll hit the plus and hit create aggregate device, and then that'll show all the microphones that are linked to this laptop. So we've got them all plugged in, so anything that's plugged in should come up in this section here. Now you'll see inputs and outputs. Inputs being the microphones, so we will click all them, and obviously built-in output being the laptop that we want to play back to us. So our blue snowballs, we got 2 of them, remember, and the Yeti Nano, we'll click all them. Don't worry about drift control, I'm not sure what that is, doesn't affect me. And then we're going to click built-in output so that we can pause our podcast and play it back to us while we're listening. And we want to label this aggregate device to something that we can understand or make reference to. So we'll call this vlogging practice setup. So that way we know when we go into GarageBand and we need to pull up aggregate device, that we know this is the one with the 3 microphones set up. So now we exit out of audio devices and we'll open up GarageBand and we're going to go empty project. I'd just go empty project over voice, it's just preference. Normally I'd use that, but I won't use for the purpose of setting everything up and showing you guys. So this will come up. You want to have it on the microphone up the top there, see the light on the microphone. And now we're going to go down to my instrument is connected with our input device, which we just created, and we have our output device. So our input device is what we just set up, so you'll see it there, vlogging prac setup. So that's our aggregate device we just created. So I'm going to click that, so all my mics are inputs through that. And then we will go to our output device, and like I said before, because my microphone don't have any headphones, we want built-in output as our output device so that the laptop can play the podcast back to me if I want to pause during the podcast and check. So now that you've got your input and output sorted, we'll cancel out of that. Vlogging practice setup, built-in output, and let's create that. So you'll see one of the microphones is on coming through input 1 there, which is cool, but we still need to add our next 2. I'm just tapping that mic now to make sure that it's coming through sweet and it's all good. So now we'll go to the plus, and we're gonna, because we've got 3 mics, we're gonna add another one so it plays through input 2. So mic 2 will come through input 2. So I'll give that a wee tap, and that's sweet. We can see the sound waves coming through there, so we're all good. And then we're going to add our 3rd microphone through input 3. Create that, and I'm tapping the 3rd mic now, and it's coming through sweet as well. So now that we've got all 3 on, this is the most important part of the setup because it's something that took me ages to understand. See how there's only sound waves coming through audio 3, which is the one I've clicked on, but the other 2 are dead. So what we need to do is have them all on simultaneous at the same time. So we're going to go up to the top here, and we're going to click track, and we're going to go down to track header, and we're going to click on show record enable button, and this will allow us to play all 3 mics at the same time. This wee red button comes up, it's grey on the other 2 because they're off, but what you need to do now is you're going to click on the red button and you're going to hold it down and drag it all the way through all the other wee lights. I'll show you. So clicking on the red light now, and I'm holding down, I'm still holding down, I'm still holding down, still holding down, still holding down, take your finger off. And now all 3 mics, once you get those 3 red lights there, then you're all good to go, and you can see that there's the sound waves coming through from all 3 mics. I take the 1, 2, 3, 4 count off as preference, and then I'll change my option to time, so that way I know that I'm all good to go. It's just preference with the time thing because you're obviously recording a podcast. And then you can just click the red button and you can record, and you'll see that the sound waves are all coming through on all 3 mics, which means that's when you know that you've got the green light and you're all good to go. Okay, so that's pretty much everything. If you have any questions, please drop a wee comment in below. I'll try and answer them. I don't really know too much about this, but this is the cheap setup that worked for me. So in terms of this equipment and setting it up on the laptop, yeah, hopefully I can help you out. Or flip me through a message on my Instagram page at Young East Yarns. So how much do these mics cost? If you're not worried about the whole headphone thing and just playing it back every now and again without the headphones, then I would go for these ones here. If we grab the Blue Snowball black ices, oh no, black, what are they called? The black Snowball ice. Cost, I'm pretty sure they're about $120, so I've got 3 of them. So, well, I would use 3 of them, so that's 360 bucks. Around about 360 bucks. And then this wee thing here, the wee 3 USB port that you plug into your laptop that I showed you about. I think this one cost me $50. You can get them for $20 New Zealand. Would recommend really looking after them because they do the wires tend to go on them really easily, and that's a big issue if you're recording your podcast and one of the wires goes and you don't play it back to yourself for like a 15-minute window, and then it'll just come through real fuzzy, everything will be messed up on it. So I really recommend that you make sure these are working, take real good care of them, and check, we have a wee break every now and again in your podcast and check that the audio is coming through all sweet. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. I hope you learned something, and yeah, good luck.